Yeah, playing doctor and nurse with the wife in the bedroom last night didn't go so well, especially when I diagnosed her as clinically obese.
Oh, my Lord. Oh.
All right, that's terrible. That's terrible. A couple of Rodney Dangerfield jokes. We'll bring up some more comedians. I love Rodney Dangerfield. I think he was one of the best.
Yay.
I looked up my family tree and found out I was the sap.
Oh.
Yeah, I could tell my parents hated me. My bath toys were a toaster and a radio.
I tried hard.
I haven't spoken to my wife in years. I didn't want to interrupt her.
Hey, you guys are laughing too loud at that one.
I found out there was only one way to look thin. Hang out with fat people.
True.
When I was born, I was so ugly the doctor slapped my mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
I met the Surgeon General. He offered me a cigarette. When I was a kid, my parents moved a lot, but I always found them. You gotta love him, right? He's fantastic. And we have, of course, Strum Diesel coming up in less than a half an hour. We're gonna bring up Why Not, who has just made our tickle us and make us laugh. Come on, why not? Come on up here. Yeah. You. Of course, you.
Yeah, I even changed my clothes for you guys and my hair too. So
Oh, look at that.
Say I'm never take a
Oh.
shower. Or anything.
Whoa, my God. Clean clothes and Second Life. Yeah. Yeah.
I like to do that.
Oh,
once in a
dear.
while. Every once in a while. Well, the Queen of England and George W. Bush are riding in the royal carriage down Pall Mall, chatting politely, and one of the horses breaks wind. The smell's horrible. The Queen and the President are both too embarrassed to say anything, and the Queen has to break this awkward silence, so she says, Mr. President, I'm so terribly sorry. As you now realize, there are some things over which even the Queen of England has no control. And very graciously, President Bush says, oh, think nothing of it, Your Majesty. If you had not said anything, I would have thought it was the horse. George W. Bush and Dick Cheney go out to dinner together, and the waitress asks them what they'd like to order. And after they look at the menu, Cheney says he'd like a piece of prime rib, all the trimmings. And Bush says he'd like a quickie. And the waitress storms off, shouting how she thought all that horrible behavior and language was over now that Bush was the president. So Bush sits there thinking, looking confused, and Cheney leans over and goes, Mr. President, it's pronounced quiche. This guy's driving in a deserted stretch of highway, and he notices a sign outside the corner of his eye. It says, Sisters of Mercy, House of Prostitution, 10 kilometers. He thinks it's a figment of his imagination, so he drives on without a second thought about it. But then he sees another sign. It says, Sisters of Mercy, House of Prostitution, 5 kilometers. So he realizes they're for real, and he drives past a third sign. It says, Sisters of Mercy, House of Prostitution, next right. Well, his curiosity gets the best of him, so he pulls into the drive, and on the far side of the lot's a somber stone building with this little sign on the outside, Sisters of Mercy. He climbs up, rings the bell. The door is answered by a nun in a long black habit. She goes, What may we do for you, my son? He says, Well, I saw your signs along the highway. I was interested in possibly doing some business. Very well, follow me. And he's led through winding passages. He's disoriented by then. The nun stops at a closed door and tells him, Knock on this door. He does as he's told, and the door is answered by another nun. She's holding a tin cup and instructs him to place $50 in it and go through the door at the end of the hallway. He gets out $50, puts it in the second nun's cup, trots down the hall, slips through the door, pulls it shut, and as the door locks behind him, he's out in the back parking lot facing another small sign. Go in peace. You've just been screwed by the Sisters of Mary.
Oh, nice.
This young skinhead started a job on a farm. So the boss sent him to the back paddocks to do fence work. But by evening, he was a half hour late. So the boss got on the CB radio to check if he's all right. I got a problem, boss. I'm stuck here. I got a pig. Well, these things happen sometimes, the boss says. Just drag the carcass off the road so nobody else hits in the dark. Well, he's not dead, boss. He got tangled up in the bull bar. I tried to untangle him, but he's kicking and squealing. He's really big, boss. I'm afraid he's going to hurt me. Ah, never mind, said the boss. There's a 303 under the tarp in the back. Get that out. Shoot him. Drag the carcass off the road and come on home. Okay. Well, a half hour later went by, and there was still not a peep from the kid. So the boss got back on the CB. What's the problem? Well, I did what you said, boss, but I'm still stuck here. Well, what's up? Did you drag that pig off the road like I said? Well, yeah, boss, but his motorcycle still jammed up underneath my truck. This English anthropologist is doing research in an isolated African village, and the tribal chief asks if he'd like to come to a trial of his people. They're having one that afternoon. You're going to be surprised, said the chief, how well we copy your country's legal procedures. You will see. We've read accounts of many English trials in your newspapers, incorporated them in our judicial system. Well, when the Englishman arrives at the wooden courthouse, he's amazed how closely this African court official resemble those in England, and the counsels are suitably attired. They're in black robes, traditional white powder wigs. Everybody argues their case with eloquence, proper judicial language, everything, but he can't help being puzzled by every once in a while this bare-breasted native woman runs through the crowd waving her arms frantically. Well, after the trial, the anthropologist congratulates the host on what he's seen, and he goes like, what was the purpose of having this semi-nude woman running through the courtroom all during the trial? I really don't know, said the chief. But in all accounts we read in your papers about the British trials, there was invariably something about an excited titter running through the gallery.
Oh.
This girl goes to the doctor's office for a checkup, and as she takes off her blouse, he sees this big red H on her chest. How'd you get that mark on your chest? The doctor asked. Oh, my boyfriend went to Harvard, and he's so proud of it. He never takes off his Harvard sweatshirt, even when we make love. Well, a couple of days later, another girl comes in. She takes off her blouse, and he sees a blue Y. How'd you get that mark on your chest? The doctor asked. Oh, my boyfriend went to Yale. He's so proud of it. He never takes off his Yale sweatshirt, even when we make love. Well, a couple of days later, this other girl comes in. She takes off her blouse, and he sees this red M. Do you have a boyfriend at Michigan? The doctor asks. Oh, no, but I have a girlfriend at Wisconsin. Why do you ask?
Oh. Okay.
This man goes to a urologist and tells him he's having a problem, that he's unable to get his penis erect. So after a complete examination, the doctor tells the man the muscles around the base of his penis are damaged from prior viral infection that he's had. Nothing he can do for him. However, he does know of an experimental treatment that might be applicable if the man's willing to take the risk. The treatment consists of implanting muscle tissue from an elephant's trunk into the man's penis. Oh, well, the man thinks about it for a while, and the thought of going through life without ever experiencing sex again is just too much for him to bear. So, with the assurance that there will be no cruelty or adverse effect on the elephant, he decides to go for it. After a few weeks after this operation, he's given the green light to use this newly renovated equipment. As a result, he plans this romantic evening with his girlfriend, and he takes her to one of the best restaurants in the city. But in the middle of dinner, he starts feeling this stirring between his legs, and it keeps up to the point it's painful. So to release the pressure, he unzips his fly, and his penis springs out of his pants, goes to the top of the table, grabs a potato, and then returns to his pants. And the girlfriend's like freaking out. She's like, and then she smiles slyly and she goes, "Wow, that was incredible. Can you do that again?" And his eyes are watering, but he goes, "I think I can, but I'm not sure I can fit another potato up my ass." This guy goes to the doctor with a lettuce leaf sticking out his ass. "Wow, that's strange," the doctor says. "Oh, yeah," the guy says. "It's just the tip of the iceberg, though." Oh, that was bad. All right, one more. A traveler gets lost in the Sahara Desert and realizing his only chance to survive is to find civilization. So he starts walking and he gets thirsty and time passes and he feels faint. He's on the verge of passing out when he spies this tent 500 meters in front of him. Barely conscious, he reaches the tent and he calls out, "Water, water." And a Bedouin appears in the tent in the door and says, "I'm sorry, sir, I have no water. However, would you like to buy a tie?" With this, he brandishes a collection of exquisite silken neckwear. "Oh, you fool, I'm dying," the guy says. "I need water." "Well, sir," said the Bedouin, "you really need water. There's a tent about 2 more kilometers south of here where you can get some." And without even knowing how the man summons sufficient strength, he drags his parched body down to the second tent. With his last bit of strength, he tugs at the door and collapses, and this other Bedouin comes out in a costly tuxedo. He appears at the door and he goes, "May I help you, sir?" "Water." "Oh, sir, I'm sorry. You can't come in here without a tie."
Moral of the story, buy a tie.
Buy a tie.
Hmm?